Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. Today, we're going to be looking at a piece by the Brazilian artist Douglas Murakami. And this artist is working primarily within the medium of digital illustration, also known as digital paint to many people as well. And in this piece, we're going to talk about this incredible degrees of light. We're going to talk about the immense scale. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of the divinity or the spiritual glow that we see. And then we're also going to talk about the often lonely path of the solo hero. So let's jump right into it. So, in your initial introduction, you're definitely met with this immense, incredible degrees of light. Just look how almost every inch and every pixel of the spatial composition is filled with these incredible degrees of light. And Murakami actually has a tutorial on how to create this. I guess not a tutorial, more so the video process and how this was created. If you guys want to look at this, there's just some incredible layering on each one, and each one also hosts those incredible degrees of light, which just they strike you instantly whenever you first see this piece. It's impossible to escape that, and you'll see that our lone subject here is kind of in contrast to the massive light and glow of what we see here. And that, of course, creates a lot of visual energy within the piece that invigorates it. It really creates a lively and very exciting visual experience. It's like a lot going on, kind of like the burst of a star, and we're just watching kind of the fallout from that. And it melts and it flows across the work with all these varying degrees of layering. It's just absolutely incredible. So in your initial introduction, you're likely caught and struck by those incredible degrees of light. And moving on, we have a what appears to be a massive city. We have much more of the concrete definition of, say, a prismatic building there, and it's hard to tell exactly where each building begins and ends. And I think the artist utilizes that alongside this layering in order just to create a sea of light and just an incredible city skyline that just morphs and it feels endless as you just kind of fall into the piece. So just an incredible introduction at that. And I called this an Eastern megacity because you'll see what appears to be two katanas on either side of our lone subject. So I called this an Eastern megacity, but it could very well be any large city as well. And the urban environment of the megacity often combines, say, the immense luminescence of screen-based devices with, say, surveillance states. And that's what normally characterizes the cyberpunk genre as a whole, is kind of that the loss of the individual in the sea of kind of collective urban megacities. And so you kind of just get swept away by that. And I think that we really see that here as well. You also see the incredible scale of this spatial composition. Of course, I do have the piece, enlarged so you could see that, but the subject is very small compared to this massive flood or this massive wide scale spatial composition. And that really just, like I said, you kind of just fall into the work. And that sense of scale also reinforces that sense of divinity. And even whenever we're taking a look at, say, the cyberpunk genre, this sense of scale also reinforces what we normally see in cyberpunk, which is the loss of the individual, kind of the loss of the individual to the sea of light or the sea of this urban technology that is quite mesmerizing. So in the specific context of, say, scale, we can see how the loss of the individual is just lost in this massive sea of light, which is quite characteristic of the cyberpunk genre. So we see a lone subject here, and our lone subject appears to be perched on a ledge high above this sea of light. And he's kind of just looking down, say, lost in contemplation in the night sky. And he's beneath this stunning almost, it almost feels like we're looking at a galaxy, with whether it's the colors of this incredible blue and purple, or whether it's the light that just shines, or even the sense of scale. All three of those elements really make this feel like some type of ethereal, surreal galaxy that we're just looking right here in front of us. And you see the subject is perched on that ledge, kind of just contemplating, looking over the city. And at times you can feel like a drop in the bucket, but that's important to always remember, what's happening. And so, this hero is just kind of looking off into the distance, into this what feels like an endless setting, an endless urban city landscape, and it's absolutely incredible. You'll see that the subject is emphasized through a dark on light contrast here, and as well as the ledge. You see the ledge extending out, kind of attached like that onto what we assume is a building around here. And that really just works to emphasize the subject. And like I said before, if the element of scale is the loss of the individual, then we could say that the artist re-empowers the individual by contrasting it with a dark on light contrast to really accent and emphasize the perspective of the lone hero here. So I think that's also really important to note. That's what really pulls this lone character out and really emphasizes it to a masterful degree at that. So we see, like I said, we have the lone hero, and he's kind of contemplating at night. He's kind of clearing his mind at night, just lost in thought, looking off over the endless cityscape. And I think this is a really good reminder that the journey can often be lonely at times. We experience our day-to-day life as individuals because we have one body. We can't jump into someone else's perspective. Whether we're going through, tough times or good times, it's experienced through the lens of one person, of the individual. So, the path of the hero, or the path of anyone for that matter, whether they're going for some type of, higher goal, it can get quite lonely at times, and that's okay. And I think that this piece does a masterful job at really capturing, that loneliness as you're going to the top, or that loneliness and contemplation when you're kind of just stuck with nothing but you and your thoughts, and you're kind of just contemplating on life. And that's really what I see with this lone hero here, just looking off into the immortal symbolism of just this infinite city landscape. There's something really interesting going on, and that really intrigues me and reminds me of the lonely path of the lone hero. And we see, our hero is kind of the one who walks in the night, or the night walker, just kind of clearing his mind, trying to make sense of the world, because, there's no distractions at night. You might have all these lights as the distraction, but at least the hero is alone to find some clear thoughts and to kind of contemplate on everything that's happened. So that's what I really see here, is that lonely, often lonely journey of the individual who's going towards a higher goal. And just notice the amount of, like I said before, the glow of this work is just, it's ethereal and it's surreal. And what I mean by that is that it's almost divine in a really important way, because whenever you look out into the night sky, or say the endless city landscape, there's this sense of the infinite. There's this sense of the mortal finite, which is our perspective, and then you're looking out into the endless sea, which feels like a timeless symbol of immortality. And so whenever I see this iridescent, this luminescence that just floods the spatial composition, it really feels like it's coming from a higher source divinity, from a higher source of, whether that's spiritualism or whether that's just anything divine. It feels bigger than just normal mundane life. And I really think that this piece does an absolutely incredible job at capturing that. Whenever I first saw this piece, it just, it caught me, and it struck me, and I had to stare at it for a long time and just think of, why am I feeling the way I do? And a lot of that, I do believe, can be attributed to the divine glow. And the divine glow is really, really important. You see that in a ton of pieces, especially Murakami's. We're going to take a look at some of his other pieces here in a second, but you'll see just this light. This light is a really, really important symbolism. In, say, archaic religious symbolism, you have the dark versus the light, the one who shines the light of truth and darkness and things like that. So I really see an ethereal or a surreal glow coming from this work, and I think that's really important whenever you take a look at the final resulting visual experience. So just an incredible work coming from Murakami. He creates what feels like these divine forms with just absolute ease, and he just keeps doing it one after another. And so here's the 4 pieces that are in the Apollo Art Archive from Murakami. And what you'll see, say I group these on the left here, these are really natural pieces, and you see the glow of light. Say there, this is definitely most intense, but you can also see the light aspects in here and kind of that blue-purple cyberpunk aesthetic that's also echoed in this piece as well. So these are the 4 pieces that Murakami has within the Apollo Art Archive. All of these have been written about, and these 3 now have videos on them as well. So just some incredible work coming from this artist. Murakami is a Brazilian artist and is a quite talented one at that. Just relentless works coming from this artist. This artist can be considered a career artist as well. You can really see that in the level of complexity and the depth, and say this, the symbolism and even the luminescent texturing and the glow and everything that's combined. Just some incredible, incredible work coming from Murakami. And of course, you see he works within the digital illustration medium, so that always creates this super painterly flow. And that most notably in this piece, as well as this piece as well, that painterly flow is just, it's iconic. And I think the flow and the glow is really indicative of, say, Murakami's stylistic profile. Whenever I see a work that has this glow and kind of this natural scene, I almost instantly can guess that it's a Murakami. So I think that's also really important to note. And Murakami, like I said, he's just creating some great works, and it's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be able to study them. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something about these works. We have, like I said, we have now 3 videos. This is the 3rd video on a Murakami. So if you guys want to check out some of his other pieces, we have a written description on the natural piece there in the middle as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Go check out some of Murakami's other works. I hope you guys learned something. We talked about scale, divinity, and the lonely path of the individual hero working towards a higher goal. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.